All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday, February 25th, the last Thursday of the month. Where in the heck did February go? I can't believe March is literally Monday, and we're already wrapping up Q1 of 2021. It just, Welcome to another personal SEO consultation session. These webinars have been really exciting and really fascinating, and we're so glad to have you with us today. I'm Diana, and I'm part of the SEO division here at SEMrush. So joining me here on video is someone who is a great friend to us here at SEMrush. He's an incredible voice in the digital marketing community, and being a digital marketing consultant, he is a master at guiding businesses through all aspects of SEO, PPC, analytics, and so much more. So please welcome our guest today, David Sayce. Hi, David.
Hi. Hi. Thanks,
Cole
Anna.
Hamilton, it's good to see your face. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been a bit of a long, crazy day here, but yes, doing well. Still in lockdown, London.
Yeah,
So
lockdown's
yes,
been pretty prominent over there in London and then the whole of
yeah.
England. And yeah, you doing okay?
So far, so good. I'm only a few miles away from London. I've forgotten what it looks like. I haven't been in since about March last year. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
Yeah.
Not even to like get your favorite like treat in London proper. Nothing. You haven't given in.
No.
Well, good for you.
Too busy doing webinars and honing my SEO skills.
You are a very busy guy. So David joins us quite often here in the live webinars, but he's usually in our chat. So since he's here on camera today in the webinar room, we have another amazing SEMrush friend joining us in the live chat. Ask him all sorts of questions because he is the director of search at Dynamic Consultants Group. Everyone chat a hello to William Rock. Hi, William. I'll see you in the chat here in a few minutes.
William is my wingman. Thank you,
Absolutely.
William.
So we've got a great team today. Like this is going to be outstanding. So what I love about most of these personal SEO consultation sessions is meeting marketers. I am a marketer myself. That was my whole career. So I love this. And I think it's like the closest thing we've had to in-person networking for the time being. So it's just really fun to like interact with other marketers. Today we have 5 incredible marketers ranging in industries from home services like gutters to motivational mugs to genealogy, which is super fascinating because I just did my own family tree recently, to software development and a startup marketing firm. So let's meet our marketers. We are going to start with Devon. Tell us a bit about yourself. Oh, unmute yourself.
Yep. I'm not that quick on the updraw, but howdy, I'm Devon Lee with Family History Fanatics. We help people understand their DNA, climb their family tree, and write their family stories along the way. Our primary platform is over on YouTube. I have struggled for several years to get my blog to be in an easy-to-use platform without killing my DNA web traffic, and I've killed my web traffic. So I'm hoping to try to figure out what I did wrong.
Oh no. I would like to admit that none of us have ever been in that situation, but I'm pretty sure any SEO has been in that situation. So you're not alone. All right. Thomas, you are up next. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Also unmute.
Okay, yeah, hi, I'm Thomas. I've been doing digital marketing for about 6 months. I have my own personal SEO website, and I've been helping out with a startup company called 150 Birds, and just recently started doing more for nonprofits. So it's been quite the fun past 6 months, and I'm really excited to hear more about your personal insights.
And nonprofit SEO and digital marketing is such a fascinating industry in and of itself. So that'll be a really cool conversation, I think. Okay, Ryan, it's your turn.
Gonna hit that, the mute thing is just always gonna be there. I think we'll be forever traumatized, but I'm excited to be here. I'm a speaker, an author, and a proud ginger. And that refers to my red hair and my freckles. Yes. There's a lot of speakers, a lot of authors, but you can always remember I'm that ginger. And I think we can all be a little bit more ginger. So the reason I'm here today is not about speaking and is not about my book, Ditch the Act, which shameless plug is always in the background. But this year, last year, I turned 40. Yay! And it was a big deal. And instead of being depressed about it, I was going to throw a big bang out party. I was thinking about it for a few years, right? Looking forward to it. And then this whole pandemic hit and it really took it off the plate. So instead of investing in my party, which was going to involve sailboats and chartering, all kinds of fun stuff, I decided to take on a pandemic project, something that I always wanted to do, but never had the excuse. And ever since a conversation with Tony Robbins about 6 years ago now, who challenged me to do one thing every day, didn't matter what it was, but one thing every day and without fail to continue to do it, I started drawing stick figures. And I've drawn stick figures for the last 6 years. I've got thousands of them every day. You know, you can see them on my social feeds at Ryan Fallon. It's easy to find. And I never did anything with them other than draw. They're included in my conversation or in my presentations and my book, but I wanted to create a way for people to sort of have them on a regular basis. So I came up with the idea of creating motivational mugs. Now, what are motivational mugs? They are literally motivational mugs. They are stick figures with mugs on them. And so it was an idea that I had. And so it took me about 3 months, but I'm not a technical person. And so what I ended up doing was learning along the way, and it really became a pandemic project for me. So I'm not an SEO guy. And so I have so many questions for David. And the whole thing is for charity. It's for 3 charities that I really like to support. So you buy a motivational mug. I just passed my 100th sale, so I'm really excited about that.
That's so cool.
But I want to sell more so I can drive more awareness about what these things are doing for mental health, for the ocean, and for our environment. So that's me. I'm excited to learn.
Very cool backstory, Ryan. All right, Natalie, tell us about yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Natalie and I'm a marketing manager at StillKiwi. StillKiwi is a custom software development company. So if you have any ideas, app ideas or web ideas, you're welcome. Probably we can help you with it. The reason why I'm here is that last time Google many Google updates affect our site. So especially as new core web vitals. So I want to figure out how will it affect our website and how to avoid traffic pessimizations and many other questions, of course, too, for that. Thank you.
No, I think you are channeling a lot of us SEOs right now too with the Core Web Vital and how its impact is going to be, once it rolls out in May. So that'll be perfect for today. All right. Yep. And then wrapping us up is Daryl. So Daryl, tell us about yourself too.
Yeah, hello. So I'm glad to hear that Ryan's not an SEO man, because neither am I. It's quite new to me. I'm someone that did a tiny bit of web development when I first left school, did stuff on family business, and then didn't do any more with that. And then with this pandemic, I've been getting back into doing a little bit of things on websites and had the opportunity, and some of the work I've done, and people have asked me, do I do SEO? So this is something I'm very interested in taking up, and I'm here to learn all I can. I've got several projects with people who want to start the service of SEO, and I'm really not sure where to start. So looking forward to the session.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Well, I cannot wait to deep dive into all of your SEO questions, guys, but I do have a few housekeeping notes. Actually, I just have one big housekeeping note. Each marketer will have about 8 to 9 minutes with David. And these conversations are so amazing. I hate cutting them short, but that's my job. So I'm in charge of the timer. So don't be mad if I have to cut in and kind of cut you off, but we just need to stay on time so we can keep the conversation rolling. So I'll be like the Oscars. How they cut you off if you talk too long. That's my job today. Yeah, I'll pull you off.
Do we get any Oscar music? Is there music that cues when we know it's time to go?
Just watch my face. You'll just watch my face. All right, so we're going to start with Devon. You got about 8 to 9 minutes, Devon.
Hiya, Devon.
Hey, how are you? All right,
I'm
so
good.
that's awesome. I was told I could actually share my screen, so I'm going to pull up some. I thought it was called SEMrush, by the way.
We just went
whole
through a rebrand in
rebranding.
December,
I know.
and we had the big debate around our name. I mean, that's been a debate in the industry around SEMrush or SEMrush, and in December we decided SEMrush. Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay, no problem. All right, so I'm trying to use my blog. Quick backstory. I've moved from different platforms. I was told, get the heck off of Blogger if you want to be a serious business. And I went to WordPress, and that was a nightmare, and it was too complicated. So now I'm over at Wix, and I found SEMrush, and I'm seeing all of these technical issues, and I'm not sure how to resolve them. The issue that I have the most problem with, I actually need to update something, is when I go to, sorry, I'm not as a whiz over here, is when I see the unmodified JavaScript. Now, I'm not sure if we can really handle that. I think that's connected to the low HTML ratio. So put that as a second question, but my biggest question, it comes to these pages right here. I took a screenshot of them, but basically I have these duplicate tags because in the search on SEMrush, it says blog page 10, blogs page 11, blog page 12. And then it doesn't have a heading because it's blog page 10, blog page 12. And it has low text ratio because it's these blog pages. And those blog pages were supposed to just, you know, direct people into my site. So I asked how to fix it, and I was told to get into the robot text, but I looked at Google and they said, don't get into the robot text. So how do I fix that problem?
I mean, just straight away, having a quick look at your website, it's very interesting. I mean, first of all, I did a quick look from this end, and from the brief I had before we started here, I was expecting something a lot worse.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, maybe it's maybe it's the type of clients that I normally have. But it was interesting having a look to see that you know, when it came to errors and issues, I'm just having a look at the screen now. There isn't that much that I would really be that concerned with. So I mean, with the robot text stuff, yeah, I mean, it's something that you can possibly dive into. You can suggest that Google doesn't follow those pages, but I'm wondering, considering how good the rest of the website is, because I'm seeing you over the last year, 6 months, especially over the last few months, you know, your organic traffic on the SEMrush page and keywords are both heading in the right direction. So these are both up and to the right. So I wouldn't be overly concerned with that. You know, robots text is something you want to be wary of if you do go in and into there, but ultimately it's actually pretty simple. It's often a line of text, and you can quite simply find how to disallow access to a specific directory, and it is a bit scary when you first look at it. But I mean, I might catch up with you afterwards and drop you that line of text. But
that'd be great.
It is pretty much as simple as a line of text that go. I wouldn't even call it code, to be honest. Line of text that goes into the robot's txt file. It's something that if you really mess around with it, it can go very wrong. I mean, quite famously, when people migrate websites, they often forget to alter. There'll be nodding in the audience now from SEOs, forgetting to unblock with the robot's text. But you know, it's generally it's pretty safe once you're sensible and you know what to look at. I mean, to be honest, having a look, there's some other things on there. I mean, there's a few broken links. I would worry more about some of the things like that, because not only is it from the Google point of view, but it's also from the user's point of view.
Right.
When they hit that 404, it's a sign, hang on, is somebody really taking care of this website? And especially, I think, as we'll come on to later, with Core Web Vitals, quality is such a big issue. Thankfully, that's being brought to the front again. A quick crawl with SEMrush on their audit. I did also notice that there's a little bit of mixed content there. You'll see that in the warnings tab, HTTPS to HTTP. Again, that's a quality sign with Google. So, and I think with being on Wix, I want to say this straight off, Wix has had such a bad reputation for a long, long time. That is something that is years ago. It is so vastly improved these days. It is a viable website to run a business and run SEO on. There are some limitations, but when you have the good content, when you have generally a well-structured website, those matter a lot less.
Okay. Yeah, so I have been working on trying to clean up those broken links and stuff like that. There's one more question I have. Do I have enough time, Diana? Yes? Okay, good. So let me share my screen real quick. So this is in my sitemap. So let me try to zoom in. So the sitemap is showing up, but I have this one and this one that shouldn't be in there because it's calling pages that that are not live. They're not active, and they have outdated content, but it still gets pulled into Google search, into SEMrush, telling me I have errors there that I can't fix. So how do I get rid of these two things in this sitemap?
I'm just trying to think what sort of access you have to sitemaps with Wix. It may well be. I mean, the other thing when you're running a site like Wix, be wary of the content that you're leaving on there.
Okay.
I think this was especially true a few years back with a lot of these websites. I'd see a lot of companies, they'd go in, they were setting up pages, they'd be draft pages, trial pages, and they wouldn't add them to the navigation and think, okay, they're not going to be seen. But because of the way Wix, Squarespace, a lot of these set up, they will take everything out of there. So it may well be that you just make sure anything that you do not want visible is just removed from the back end of the Wix area.
Okay.
You can also ask Google itself. So with Google Search Console, you can go in there and request that it's removed from the cache as well. That lasts about 6 months, but it activates within about 6 hours or so normally.
Okay. All right. And I think that is most of my questions. And I know that the unminified Java and the low text HTML ratio, I don't know how to solve that or even where to read more about it, because I look at some of my blogs that are flagged as low HTML text and it has like 900 to 1,000 words. So, I'm lost.
At this stage, I would not be overly concerned with that. You have to remember with a lot of these audits, they're not taking into account your business,
right?
And this is where it changes from when somebody like me goes in and does a full-on audit. I'm looking at some of these issues and thinking, is this actually going to cause harm to the business? Okay,
so these things don't, is what you're telling me.
At this stage, I wouldn't worry about them. I think there are other areas to concentrate on, and I'm not even 100% sure if you can do anything with Wix on the unminified JavaScript and CSS.
No.
All right, that is Devon's time. But I love that point, David, that you just brought up about how audits still really do require the human eye, and because we've been asked as SEOs too, what is the best way to do an audit? And it really does, you can do the technical scan, you can look for those things. And I've found that with a lot of conferences and things too, the advice is also kind of broad and it all kind of falls in the same category where it all does kind of depend, not to have our first it depends of the webinar, right?
I haven't said it yet.
Yeah, well, I just broke the trend, I guess, but it really does matter, to take in those. industry specific things into consideration, and not everything is applicable to every website. Otherwise, we would all rank #1. So,
Yeah.
very
I mean,
good.
you know, these audits are a great starting point. You get all the data, and then you need to dive in and make sense of it.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool point. I love that. Okay, Thomas, it's your turn. 8 minutes on the clock.
Hello, Thomas.
Hi. Sorry, I hadn't muted myself. Okay, I had really insightful questions that you might not even have the answer to, but if you do, that's great. I was wondering if you thought that, because Neil Patel really talks about in this new strategy that he just released a few weeks ago about how with SEO, if you do question-based articles at the top, then it will attract more visitors just because it's more, people type in more questions than they do just, you know, keywords or anything like that. So I just wanted to know if you thought if I added questions into my on-page technical SEO, would that help the ranking, or do you think it would, or does that make it just too long, or what do you think?
It can help. I mean, I think, and again with the SEMrush software, this is one of the great things that you can dive into. When I'm doing the keyword research side, I generally get some what I call seed topic areas from clients, and then start diving into those and see what the related topics or keywords are, especially in some of the professional services. They can be very different internally to externally, but also I have found that the questions from an audience point of view can be very powerful. So, you know, what I'll often say to people is, yes, have a look at how structured the page is, how relevant those questions is. You always want to keep the relevance there. You can use SEMrush and it will help you discover what sort of questions are being asked. There's also ask.com is also very good, or just actually dive into Google itself. I mean, a lot of these softwares, they're pulling that sort of information in anyway. See the sort of questions that are appearing there and have a look at those web pages and see how that looks compared to yours. How could you make it better? Can you answer that question in a better way, more exact, more succinct? You know, these are the sort of things people are asking online, and Google is looking to give somebody the best answer possible. And if you can do that, it is going to help you. And this is with the proviso that everything else on your website is great too. Yeah. So, you know, there's that competition level, but as with everything with SEO, it's the nudges, the small steps that help build you up and knowing where to concentrate. I mean, what sort of topic areas are you looking around there?
Oh, I've just kind of looked at more just, I guess you would say right now, SEO questions, but that's what I'm really trying to target right now.
I mean, another great source is, I mean, with a lot of companies looking at what people are searching internally. So with your Google Analytics, having a look at the internal search data. But also don't forget, especially if you're a larger firm, any sales teams, reception, whoever's answering the phone, whenever you get a call come through, start jotting down those questions, because if 2 or 3 people are asking them, you know there's probably 200 or 300 online somewhere that want to know the answer to that as well. The one thing I would say is with the structured data that we're seeing now, any use of those questions, make sure that you try and build it with the structured data in mind. So if you're using something like Yoast on a WordPress website, it's super easy. They do great FAQ and how-tos, and these can be very powerful. But I'd also be wary about how wide you go with the topic. Try and keep it as concise as possible. But ultimately, everything else considered, it can help having those Q&As on a page. But yeah, have a look at Google, see what's already showing up for those questions.
Okay, awesome. And then I'm just gonna ask one more question. I don't want to take up too much time. I was just trying to figure out more about looking at, since I'm talking about the personal website I have, more about if I should be reading on more small, medium, or large digital marketing type sites for, insights and buyer persona, you would say, I guess. But yeah, if you think I should look more into like small, medium, or large, and it does it very,
So you're looking at your own research side for that source of information. So
Yeah.
where you can learn more. So, well, of course, I have to say SEMrush blog, of course, is the go-to destination for anyone. Also, I mean, there's some other great websites, but also don't forget there are some absolutely fabulous newsletters out there as well. I mean, one that has been started by Lydia Solis very recently, the SEO FOMO. I said it right this time, thankfully. I always get that wrong. Because she collates so much information that it's just a fabulous knowledge source. And I really wish I had my affiliate code for it now to pop in there and I'd get the mug, but not this time. Other great websites, I mean, from maybe more towards that psychological business end, Smart Insights. So Dr. Dave Chaffee, who's based here in the UK, the smartinsights.com website has some fabulous information around the development around personas, some more on the psychology website. But yeah, I mean, a mix of, I mean, I generally have a mix of go-to blogs and far too many newsletters that hit my inbox on a weekly basis. But it's a great way to learn. Every week you're learning something new.
Thank you so much. I'm really going to look at that stuff.
That's
I
right.
appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks.
All right. Oh my gosh. Amazing, amazing questions, Thomas. And I love, David, that you reference like non-digital ways to get questions that your people are asking. Yeah. Like that is such like a soapbox topic for me too. I love that. And I think people forget when we talk about digital marketing that there's still human aspect. There's still like traditional ways to even get data that isn't Google Analytics or something.
I've spent so many years fighting against the siloing within businesses, whether it's gathering questions from sales teams, finance, and all the rest, or especially when doing migrations and things like that, getting everyone involved. Everyone has a stake in the business.
They really do, and they interact with customers on different levels, and there is such valuable input for working with your own staff and like working with people in conjunction with the data. So I love that point.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, you are up with 8 minutes on the clock.
Ahoy! Hey Thomas, real quick, if you haven't read a book by Marcus Sheraton called "They Ask, We Answer," it'll blow your mind. It's a really great and fascinating look at an early adoption of using questions as a source for content. So it just came to mind. All right, David, I've got a number of questions here. If you don't mind, we can do a little rapid fire.
Go for it.
We'll share my screen so that we can see the.
I want to see these mugs.
The stick figure store. Okay, so I believe. Can you see this? Okay, I don't see myself.
Yeah, that looks great.
All right, so. Let me bring up my notepads so I don't have to think too much. How important is a product description? So again, this is 101. So if we're looking at a mug, I have an option for the product description here, and then there's even a longer form. There's additional information. I just don't know how much to invest into this for each one.
And it's difficult when it's a mug. Let's be honest here. I mean, I think with, I've worked, the product description side is hugely important. When I first started out with the e-commerce side of digital, it was late 90s with a wholesale business. And we were getting the product descriptions from a supplier, slapping them on the website just like anyone else. It did nothing for us. We then took the opportunity to add some of our own personality to it. I do like that web page, the way it moves around. That's very clever. I would say this is one of those areas where your brand is so absolutely vital. This is where you have that extra voice. This is where you say this is not just a mug. This is the drinking utensil of choice. this is where you add that brand personality into it. So I would say, you got the two sides of it. You want to have the description that allows you to be found. So obviously it needs the star behind the stick figure store, the mug. So it's that gift, that interesting mug to take around the office, but at the same time, making sure that you have that brand personality built into it.
Okay. And interesting you bring that up, because part of, this is a charity project, but I still speak professionally. And so another goal is to have it be an asset where people can learn more about me and my story and how stick figures have really played a part in it, as well as highlighting the charities that I'm working with. And so again, just knowing where I invest my time and content. So it sounds like the descriptions aren't as important, and it's more focused on the overall story and branding backstory, correct?
I think you need to make sure that comes through to those product descriptions as well. Because it's such a journey.
Because I could get silly, and each description could be its own little blog about how it was created. And yet the other thing, I'm partnering with a large domain company, and I'm running a stick figure contest where I'm actually looking at working with some of their influencers. So, for example, these are all people with potentially millions of followers that we're actually shipping them mugs. And so part of that story can be their brand. And the goal is to have them be excited about sharing their mugs so that it drives traffic back to the site. So it's interesting you say the brand for the store, but I could probably really leverage the brands of the influencers for the mugs that I'm giving and build the descriptions out like that, right?
I think with at least with myself and products, I find a brand that I like, and I enjoy that discovery of that new product, that product I haven't found, and finding out that it's more than just a mug, a pair of jeans, I don't know, a plug unit or something like that. I like the feeling of going in depth and a sense of involvement with a brand. And I think, bringing that through can help. But I like the idea of with the influencers as well. I think that could be a great collaboration.
So I've got some loading time issues. And when I, just at least for me, or I tell people that they're like, it just took forever to click and to load, seems to be behaving now. But when I export the mug images, I have a chance for it to be a PNG or a JPEG, and it warns you and it says the JPEG is lighter, the PNG is higher, but you've got that transparent background. I really like the transparent background. Is it that big of a deal that I'm using PNGs versus JPEGs from a site standpoint?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
I would say just try and get those optimized as best you can. Take those images out and really start to play around and find that sweet spot from that original high res image that can show how it's appearing there. Okay. With the load time, I wonder whether some sort of delayed loading with some of the thumbnails might help out how that's all loading, if it's all loading at the same time or on a request. But that'll be interesting. I think especially, again, get back to core web vitals. It's going to be something that's going to be important. Oh my God, next month. It's coming around quick. Oh dear.
So another question about a blog, like how crucial is content to this site? So I had an idea, I could literally create a blog for each of the products or for a set number of products. How important is a blog that lives on this site from an SEO standpoint?
A blog in itself has no importance. Up-to-date content that is useful to the user, whether that's a blog, knowledge, news, whatever you call it, that's the important thing. So yeah, I mean, in your case, as long as you're consistent with it speaks to the audience, it's on brand. Any new content, any content that helps the user make their decision or entertains them is going to be good. But I would definitely say, I mean, one of the issues I have with blogs and some of the, especially again, professional services clients I work with, sorry guys, is the consistency. Everyone's really hyped up the first 3 or 6 months, if you're lucky, to do these blogs and get the content out there, and then it disappears. And the worst thing I always see is when I go onto a website and their most recent blog article was 2018, 2017. Normally the first thing I suggest to them is just remove those dates, get rid of it. But yeah, trying to keep the website fresh with new content is good, mostly for the user. But it does have an impact with search as well. But you have to remain on brand, relevant, and all the rest of it.
Okay, so if I'm launching a big contest come April 1st, and I'm going to have a landing page to point people to with with the instructions and rules, I'm going to be having these influencers hopefully push people to the site. There's $10,000 in prizes. It's a big effort on my part. Is there anything that I need to do to take advantage of that increased traffic? Should I ask them to do something? Is there something technical to help make sort of a big rush of people to the site have a long-lasting effect from an SEO standpoint?
I think one of the most important things is asking people. You want people to share it, to link to it. Make sure you state that. It's sometimes as simple as that. For your landing page itself, make sure it's totally focused. We had a 1-minute finger wagging a moment ago. I'm talking as quick as I can. Make sure that you have everything as focused as possible. I would limit out the navigation. Make sure those call to actions are nice, clear, quick. Whether that is sign up now or share this page.
All right, and time.
Right on time. You guys are nailing it today. You don't even need me. No, I love, Ryan, that was such a great question about, do I need a blog? Because that question comes up so often. And I think because in some industries where content isn't refreshed natively, like it doesn't need to be fresh, so there's not a whole lot of change, and things like product descriptions, especially for something like a mug where nothing is really changing on the regular, like where do you get the content from? So do I need a blog comes up a lot in this discussion. And David, I love your point about if it's useful, only if it's going to be helpful. That is the philosophy on content, period. I
just worry, especially when it's specifically talking about a blog. It doesn't need to be a blog. It can be other content as well, but a blog is often the best route to do it. So
right, absolutely. But I love your take on that. That's a really important, I think, nugget, like soundbite nugget from this, is that useful content is what is the point. Whether that's a blog or whether that's your reviews page or whatever, like it needs to be useful. So really cool.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you to the chatters. There's a lot of chitter chatter and advice that's going on there, so I'm going to secretly be checking that out. And if you do have unsolicited advice, you can feel free to email me, Ryan at ryanfallon.com, because I just want to learn. So thanks to everybody.
You hit on a good topic too, Ryan. There was a lot of question earlier in the chat asking about like e-com SEO too. So I'm glad we were able to incorporate that today. Okay.
I hope it's all going well, William.
William is on fire.
I can imagine.
Questions like madhouse. He is doing awesome. Okay, so over to Natalie with 8 minutes.
Hello.
Hello. So let's start. The first question is there any ways how we can optimize the using of tracking pixels like LinkedIn, Quora, Facebook? So we need them for marketing, but when we analyze in our sites through a Google page speed insights, it shows that these pixels are slowing down and affecting in a bad way.
I haven't dealt with the pixels for a while. I mean, I've got to say the first, they can horrendously slow down what would otherwise be a pretty quick web page. The first thing I would say is check what's on each of the pages. Is it absolutely required? Do you actually need the information? I've actually had a few clients over the years where they've added in these pixels but never looked at the data. So that's a whole other issue, but also just making sure, do you need it on every single page? Trying to limit what you can do with that. Perhaps also have a look at when that's loading up. So if perhaps instead of loading up from the very first point, sometimes you can put the pixel in the footer or lower down the page, and it allows the rest of the content at least to load up sooner, bringing the pixel in towards the end. That sometimes helps as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Another one question is, for example, we are a software development company, but sometimes we are thinking about moving to other website. I mean, use a site builder like Weebloom or Wix or something else, because sometimes when I'm checking websites on about their page speed and so on, there seems to be pretty well optimized for SEO. For example, we have a website built on Python, we're using Django CMS, and sometimes it can be rather hard to make updates because our developers are all on the project. So, and our content team need new widgets or something else. When you are using some pre-built solutions, it's easier to add. It's not so time consuming. But we are thinking, will it be strange that software development company is using site builder because SEO reason? SEO is the main reason why we're thinking about it.
Yeah, the main thing is who's going to know. If you build it well, as long as it's not on the Wix domain, nobody, unless somebody goes to builtwith.com or something like that, you're never really going to find out. Again, with a lot of clients, especially those just starting out, I will say to them, look, if it's important that your business gets running, have a look at Wix, have a look at Squarespace, have a look at those others. They are so much better than they were 4 or 5 years ago. They can help you spend the time developing concentrating on the content. Keep the design nice and simple. Make sure, images, all the rest are optimized as best you can. Make sure that architecture looks good. But I think these days, Wix is a perfectly adequate way to start. It works with SEO from a technical point of view. It's often down to your content and how it looks. But I think, and as you say, I mean, being developers yourself, does it make a difference? Well, nobody's going to know. And yeah, I mean, you're busy doing other things. So keep it simple, keep your information on there, run Wix or whatever works best, and get it running as fast as possible, answer all those client questions.
Sounds reasonable. One more question. One more question, please. I try
to be reasonable.
We have an LCP issue, and it's more than 4 seconds for mobile, and it's a poor quality, as Google says. Also, there are warnings for desktop, but it's a bit, the situation is a bit better. How is it crucial? Because especially in the upcoming updates, because many of URLs in our website are into it LCP issues, and we are trying our best to improve it, but still there is problems with LCP.
It's interesting. I think Core Web Vitals is the topic. It's definitely been the topic of the last probably 4 to 6 months. There might have been 1 or 2 blog posts and webinars from SEMrush on it as well. It's absolutely fascinating. What I love about it is it's bringing quality back to websites. And I think, when I first started, late 90s, mid 90s, oh God, a long time ago, Wix and all these, they allow you to build a website very quickly, and WordPress as well. People often forget about the quality of what's sitting behind the website. And I think this is going to help bring that back. So the LCP, the largest contentful paint, I would start to have a look and identify what that actually is. So often it's, let's say, a large image on a website. Can that be, is it integral to the design? Can it be optimized further? If you really, really want to help speed it up, and that is the issue, maybe changing the design to allow for a smaller image. It depends on what that bulk of content that's causing the 4-second delay is. But yeah, and have a look about how that is displaying with mobile and desktop. I mean, mobile is more and more important. We keep talking about it. Your websites need to display well on mobile devices first and foremost. Anything can be shown on a desktop. So yeah, it's going to be important to bring that 4-second time down to, I think it's about a 2.5 they ask for, something like that. Will you be penalized for it? I don't see it as a penalty when this is brought into the algorithm. However, a competing website with all of the other things matched that has no Core Web Vitals issues may well find itself ranking above yourself. So I think that's something else to bear in mind. But I think it's identifying what's causing the issue first and foremost.
Okay.
Well, that's my response to Core Web Vitals as well.
That's the collective SEO sign right there.
Also, I have one controversial question because
we're out of time for you, Natalie. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If we have some time at the end, we can certainly circle back for sure. Because now your Pixel question actually generated a question in my own head. So if we have time at the end, we can come back for sure. But a quick note about Core Web Vitals too, since we keep coming to it, we at SEMrush just launched a Core Web Vitals report in Site Audit. It's in beta right now because we have some cool iterations coming out in the future, but check that out because we are all prepping for Core Web Vitals.
It looks good too. I've been having a look at that with some of the audits I've been running.
Thank you. Yeah, we like it. I mean, I think one of the cool things about SEMrush is the visualization of everything. Yeah. So we certainly have incorporated that into the Core Web Vitals report too. So, okay. And so Daryl is going to take us home.
Hello, Daryl.
Good afternoon. How are we going?
Doing well, thanks.
Very good. Well, I think I sent through the website, the link before, but it's a new website that's basically a pandemic website. So it's a company that's been selling stuff on over the counter for the construction industry. And they whacked together a website very quickly on Shopify, got the products on there, basic descriptions, whatnot. It sort of served their current clients, but they're obviously now realizing that they can go national with this. They've got a very good deal with the supplier. They've got quicker delivery than other people they're competing against. My main question, similar to Ryan, is on a e-commerce, how do we get SEO going? Because obviously product descriptions, although they're unique, they're not just straight out of the catalog. Yeah. Have made them unique. What else can we do content-wise, and what other tips would you give me to start on the SEO pathway?
From the e-commerce side, I've seen great success with the structured data setup. Making sure that as much of that information is structured with the schema data as possible. You have the choice to add pricing, the descriptions, all the rest of it in there, and that can give a really good boost and just really help Google understand what is going on. I think, just going back to Core Web Vitals again, run it through SEMrush, run it through Lighthouse, whatever. Have a look at those pages and how they're displaying as well, because sometimes e-commerce websites with all the images and that, there can be quality issues in there, whether that's speed or how the page is loading and sometimes jumping around. Because these are two big issues that I think not just from Google but from a user's point of view really do need to be tidied up.
Yeah, that's interesting point, because the website isn't very user friendly at the moment. It's very basic and was put together very quick. So I'm looking to rehash the whole thing, change the theme, change the whole setup to make it much more inviting. Whilst doing that, is there something that you would say is something you would definitely do on that stage of rehashing the website?
Take your time. I mean, really, it's try and get as much time as possible to rehash, to get the layout right, to run the testing, talk to people within the business, talk to as many customers as possible. I quite famously, I talk about my mom test, and it is literally, I get my mom to have a look at a website, and my God, if she can use it, anyone can. And it really does help with all those little things that you'd never, ever thought about. I mean, working on an e-commerce website years ago, we discovered that you could put alpha characters into the pricing or the quantity field, and it caused this bizarre error. But it isn't the sort of thing you do with a regular test with a site that you know. It takes somebody who doesn't know you're not supposed to do that to try out those sort of things. So it really is testing as much as you can. A shout out as well to Luke McCarthy. He's SEO and he's really good with e-commerce, based up in Birmingham, my old hometown. He's done some webinars with SEMrush as well. He focuses, I think he's also recently launched or relaunched specifically an e-commerce newsletter as well. So that might be another one to have a look at for some ideas there.
That's awesome. Then the other thing, question I had was as to backlinks. Obviously, this website is so new; it doesn't have backlinks. What would you have some tips for someone that's new on this field to getting backlinks that are valid and are going to have the right results?
I hate backlinks. Backlinks are so important, but they have to be done well and they have to be done right. I unfortunately, I do not have the patience to build up really good quality backlinks. It's often I fall by them by chance. But the thing is, it is definitely something. Okay, it's definitely something that your website needs. You need that authority coming into the website. You also need to be very, very careful about how you go about getting those backlinks. Be careful if you are hiring externally. I've had a number of horror stories from clients who have hired people for 6 months or a year to do backlinks, and I've come on and checked and not found a single one. So yeah, you need to have a look at that from your construction area, PPE stuff. I would start having a look around to see whether there's potential links from some of those suppliers. Have a look at what other areas are available within that area. You might be surprised. There might be people who are running particular topic websites for the construction industry. It's quite a nice, well-knit group. You might find that getting just a few of those backlinks there may help. The other side is going all out with digital PR. And this is where that's really very interesting and sometimes expensive. And this is where you have that fabulous team that can build out everyone wants to read story about your organization, about your people, about your product, and all of a sudden it's appearing in the Times, the Metro, and everywhere else. But that in itself can be expensive. It can be hit and miss, but when it is done well, it can be absolutely fabulous. But again, I mean, have a look at SEMrush, have a look at competitors, get a sense of what backlinks might be easy to gather initially, and try and build it out from there. But you do need backlinks.
That's awesome. Thanks very much.
That's right. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, backlinks. There was again, a collective SEO sigh in the chat when backlinks came up. So we do have a few more minutes. So I would like to circle back to Natalie. I had one more question. So we have time to talk about that if you want.
Yeah, regarding backlinks
Go for
and
it.
building, I want to ask about, is it necessary to do link building? Do you mean not about traffic, but about technical characteristics? So I know, for example, that some forum has high DR or DA, and but I know that there will be probably there will be no traffic to my article or to my blog. Should I build such kind of links, or it's better to avoid? So we are not talking about spamming, so we are trying to do it natural, or organic, and useful. However, I know that forum is dead or almost dead, but it has good SEO metrics.
You know, I'll tell you what, at coming up to 55 minutes, I'm going to throw in my first "it depends." So everyone who had bets probably loses. You know, there are, let's face it, there are cases where you can get backlinks from what appear to be dead forums, obscure websites, and they can appear to have an impact. They can appear to help you. DA, domain authority, you have to remember that is a MOZ-specific scoring. It's not something that Google uses or relies on. So just be wary, especially if somebody is saying, hey, I've got some DA 70 websites to get you a link from. You know, Google doesn't care. So it's something to be very aware of. It's, you know, this is one of the struggles, I think, with quality link building. It's finding the right websites that have the right audience and putting something within there that will make them want to visit the website. So whether that is some form of advertorial or blog post or something that talks about something and comes then back to your website, it's something to really consider and have a look at. But it's link building is really, really tricky.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have a 1-minute answer for best ways to tag or deal with photos? Like how important is all that metadata for me and my sticks?
I'd say all things considered, when you have the time, add it in well. I wouldn't say it was a priority if it hasn't been done before and you're dealing with thousands and thousands of images. I know with some of my clients, yeah, they're at that stage. With yourself, who's probably more in the low hundreds, tens.
Yeah, low hundreds for sure. Yeah.
I would go in and make sure optimize what you can. I mean, you know, alt tags play a big part, especially with something so visual. The product that you have, it's really going to help. It's going to help from an accessibility point of view, which again is absolutely vital. We mustn't forget about accessibility. And then also from the wider Google ranking point of view, there is some benefit to that as well.
All right, that's it. I'm going to take something you said today, turn it into a mug, and I'll put it up there and I'll let you know.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I think we were just talking about we need to establish like an SEO like swag industry, so we can have mugs and shirts with things like "it depends" and, you know, Google algorithm, you know,
let's talk. I'll draw them out for you. We'll have a whole section so that as you're sighing about your backlinks, you can have a mug that reinforces some positive messaging.
To add on to that last
guys.
Oh.
No, we are out of time. I'm so sorry. I love this conversation.
Any more questions? Just drop me a note afterwards.
Yeah. So don't worry. And I'm gonna make
just you on the screen, not the other guys on the side, wherever they are on YouTube and all the rest. Yeah.
And we're going to give you a shout out, David, of where we can get in touch with you. So let me just get through my closing spiel and we can exchange contact information. So yeah, like I say this every single time we have one of these conversations are amazing. I wish we could talk all day, you know, and because it's always just so much fun. So I just want to say thank you to our marketers. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. Really cool case, like use case, you know, engagement there. I just think it's fascinating when we can use our real businesses as examples and learn that way. It's really interesting. I also really want to thank William for being in our live chat. He is a rock star. He is amazing in the chat. So William, please share where we can find you on social. And I really, really do want to thank David for shaving. Share. Oh my God. Shaving your shave today. I guess. That's my brain working faster than I can read. For sharing your expertise and smile with us. So I know you and I chat pretty frequently on social media, but how can our new friends find you?
So you can find me my main business website is papergecko.com. There we go. Look, papergecko.com. You can also find me paper_gecko. Paper. Yeah, I think it is on Twitter, or Sayce, Sayce. Type that into Google and then hopefully I show up. Be embarrassing if I don't.
On Twitter if you type in your name. I know that.
Oh, good. But yeah, there we go. Feel free to get in touch, whether it's Twitter, via the website, or whatever your method is.
David's cell phone,
carrier pigeon, I don't mind.
Okay, that was amazing today, guys. From all of us here at SEMrush, we hope you all are staying safe and healthy. You can follow us on Twitter too. That is SEMrush on all social media channels to stay up to date with amazing webinars like this. And we'll see you soon. So bye for now, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Thank you.